Hey, Shalom. First and foremost, call Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Kwadash. The honor star apostles, that great millstone who will way to taught us his truth. Peace, love, blessings, salutations to you, Akim. That's part of the Bahasham, the house of David. So basically, through the Spirit, I just wanted to do this quick video while I'm on my lunch break. And as you see on Twitter, oh, that's the Spirit. Look, 144K post. Hey, called Yahawashi. But basically, through the Spirit, I forgot I hadn't subscribed to Russia Today on here, so I just did it today. And I was just going down the timeline, seeing what's going on. The scriptures talk about watching, all right. And one of the things that mostly stuck out to me, look at all this chaotic stuff. Anyway, everything's fucking chaotic. Excuse my French, but there's nothing peaceful or good going on news-wise. Okay, nothing going on good news-wise. All right, the only good news out here is the gospel preached, the gospel of the kingdom of heaven, which is preached to the elect. All right, but everything else as far as this place is bad news, man. But this is one of the things that stuck out to me.
Боевая тревога, ракетная атака.
Боевая тревога, ракетная атака.
Контроль нормальный по свою старту.
Расчет, контроль нос. Личного состава не посчитал.
Hold on. Russia carries out nuclear drills, Salakia. I'm going to get a couple scriptures on this after I play this video, and I got a couple other YouTube videos I want to play.
Боевая тревога, ракетная атака.
Боевая тревога, ракетная атака.
Контроль нормальный по свою старту.
Расчет, контроль нос. Личного состава не посчитал, пакет 4-5 отсеки. 35-м, видит запас ВВД.
Видите запас ВВД.
Товарищ командир, открывайте шахта номер 2. 1. Приехали.
Oh, there go that button. There goes that button, man. And the heart of the king is in the hand of the Most High, man. See that button? As you see, it says Russian President Vladimir Putin has overseen a training session of Russia's nuclear deterrent system, which featured test launches of ballistic and cruise missiles from air, sea, and land. So not only are the weapons of the Lord's indignation going to be shot from land, also from the sea, from those submarines, all right? And we always bring this up. Intercontinental ballistic missiles were launched from the Plistic Cosmodrome in a submarine somewhere in the Barents Sea, while cruise missiles were launched from a long-range aircraft. According to the Kremlin, preparedness drills were also undertaken for command and control staff. Now, I'm going to get a couple scriptures real quick. Isaiah 54. First and foremost, this is Isaiah 54:16. Behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire, and that bringeth forth an instrument for his work, and I've created the waster to destroy. And as you see, what does it say? ICBMs. This has been prophesied through the Spirit. All right. Intercontinental ballistic missiles, meaning missiles that can shoot from one continent to the other. Okay. Let me see. What does intercontinental mean? See, intercontinental, relating to or traveling between continents. Okay, and America's on a specific continent, and so is Russia. So these intercontinental ballistic missiles, which are the weapon of the Lord, the waster to destroy. All right, it's the Lord that put the spirit on these specific scientists to create it. They shoot from one continent to another. Okay, so let me get this. This is Isaiah 13:5. They come from a far country, from a continent, all right, to another continent, from the end of heaven, even the Lord, and the weapons of his indignation to destroy the whole land. Talking about this place and Israel, okay? Because the Lord's using the waster and the weapon of indignation not only to kill, but to also cleanse the land. And you 2/3, all right? Howl ye, for the day of the Lord is at hand, and it shall come as a destruction from the Almighty. So when these specific things start happening and taking place, you people, why is this? It's a destruction. Why is this happening? Well, it's a destruction from the Almighty. That's why this is happening. We're going to watch this.
Well, Russia's military staged nuclear exercises on Wednesday under the watchful eye of President Vladimir Putin. The drills included multiple practice launches of ballistic missiles in what Moscow says was a simulated retaliation for any nuclear attack on Russia.
What do you say?
Ballistic missiles in what Moscow says was a simulated retaliation for any nuclear attack on Russia.
Ballistic missiles blast off, a dramatic show of Russia's nuclear capability, weapons launching from land, sea.
And what should come to mind? Actually, let me get that. What should come to mind? This always has to come. This prophecy always has to come to mind because Gog, Magog, those are the Russians today, all right? So this is Ezekiel 38, and I'm going to just run through it. And the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, and the chief prince of Meshech, and Tubal, and prophesy against him, which is the Arabs, and say, Thus saith the Lord power, Behold, I am against thee, O Gog, and chief prince of Meshech, and Tubal, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaw. And just because the Lord's using these Russians, all right, the Lord's still against these heathens, all right? He's going to use heathens to destroy heathens. That's why Yahawashi said, if a house be divided, how can it stand? All right. And I will bring thee forth in all thine army horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords. Persia, Ethiopia, and Libya with them, all of them with shield and helmet, right? Because there's going to be a great war, World War III. Known as Armageddon. Gomer and all his bands, the house of Togarmah of the north quarters, and all his bands, and many people with thee. Be thou prepared, and prepare for thyself, thou and all the company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. Yep. After many days shalt thou be visited. In the latter years thou shalt come into the land that is brought back from the sword, and is gathered out of many people against the mountains of Israel, which have been always waste, but it is brought forth out of the nations, and they shall dwell safely, all of them. Well, basically the point, is upwards, Gog, Magog, all right? The Lord putting the hooks in their jaw, all right?
And the sky, all under President Putin's supervision. Russia's defense minister reporting the drills, which are held annually, simulated a massive nuclear strike in retaliation for a nuclear attack on Russia. The exercise comes as Putin blamed the United States for its involvement in the conflict. We see in the example of Ukraine, which has become an instrument of American foreign policy, it has actually lost its sovereignty and is directly controlled by the United States, which is...
See that? The great whore in everything, man.
Using it as a battering ram against Russia. Putin again claiming Russia is preparing a so-called dirty bomb. Dirty bombs contain radioactive material but are not nearly as powerful as nuclear bombs. His claims have been roundly rejected by Ukraine and Western leaders.
President Putin is failing on the battlefield. He's responding with more indiscriminate attacks on Ukrainian cities, against civilians and against critical infrastructure, and with dangerous nuclear rhetoric.
The Russian drills come as NATO holds its own annual nuclear exercises in northwestern Europe.
Well, for some analysis now, I'm joined by our very own Russia analyst, Roman Goncharenko. Roman, it's good to see you. How worrying are these drills by Russia, or should we be worried at all?
Well, there are reasons for both to be worried and not to be worried. First, these drills come, this is not a surprise. Russia normally does such drills in autumn, in October, and the Western countries were warned about them. Observers were expecting something like this to happen because of the war in Ukraine, because the situation there is tense, and Russia is using its nuclear power to threaten the West and to threaten Ukraine. So it is not surprising at all.
I heard that, to threaten the U.S.
On the other hand, the war has been going on in Ukraine for over 8 months now. Everybody is very under pressure, including the Russian military. So you cannot exclude that in such a situation something may go wrong. This was not a nuclear test; it was a test of missiles capable of carrying nuclear warheads. But still, these are strategic weapons, and they are very, very dangerous. And one thing more which makes me worry is that the last time Russia did this was in February, just a few days before the invasion of Ukraine. So it could be kind of a signal to the West that Russia is preparing to escalate there.
And it does make you...
See that? And that's the Lord, man. Let me get this. Second Esdras 16. And I'm going to play the rest of the video and I'm going to end it off. But hey, this is called Yahawashi. This is good news, man. This is 2nd Esdras 16:1. Woe be unto thee, Babylon and Asia. Woe be unto thee, Egypt and Syria. And this place carries all the philosophies of these places, man. These ancient kingdoms, all right? Gird up yourselves with cloths of sack and hair. Bewail your children and be sorry, for your destruction is at hand. A sword is sent upon you, and who may turn it back? A fire is sent among you, and who may quench it? All right? Hey, man. A sword is sent among you, and who may turn it back?
Wonder, would these exercises be taking place if there were no invasion of Ukraine taking place right now? So how do these drills then fit into Putin's overall strategy?
Well, nuclear signaling is very important to Russia's policy. Russia is doing this to threaten the West, as I've just said, especially to threaten it and to prevent the West from delivering certain types of weapons to Ukraine, especially long-range missiles. Russian officials have repeated that many times. And there are two ways Russia is doing that. First, President Putin himself is threatening the West to use nuclear weapons. And of course, he needs a show of force. And this is exactly what we are seeing now. And maybe last but not least, these nuclear drills, this demonstration of Russian force, we've seen missiles carried by sea, by underwater submarine. We've seen launch from strategic bombers. We've seen land launches. So all three types of nuclear weapons were used to show and maybe to invite the West and Ukraine to negotiate. So if you want, it is a Russian way of inviting the Western countries, and especially the government of Ukraine, to finally negotiate on Russian terms, of course.
GW's Russia analyst Roman Goncharenko. As always, Roman, we appreciate your time and your analysis tonight.
And there you go. Hey, call on Yahawashi, Bahasham, man. All right. But that's pretty much what I wanted to cover.